Marcus Ealy here for Status Coup, and I'm here with Mona Fishman and Lori Long. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what brought you out to Trump stock today?
Supporting Trump. Wanted to promote Mona's songs. She's got some great Trump songs.
I'm here to do my songs, play my songs for Trump. I got 7 original rock songs for Trump.
So, as an artist, what drove you to create stuff for President Trump?
Well, I started off actually writing songs. My first songs were written for Dr. Ron Paul, when he was running, and his son Rand. And then when Rand dropped out, he made us look at Trump as to possibly vote for. And after Trump gave his anti-Hillary speech, he had me in the palm of his hand, and I decided he should be the one who I'm going to write songs for.
So it was always going to be politics, what you were going to write songs about?
Only for a non-politician politician. Like I liked Ross Perot when he was living and running. I prefer businessmen to corrupt politicians.
Of course, Trump is embroiled in the impeachment stuff going on right now. As he would say, the witch hunt continues. um, what all do you guys think will happen? Worst case scenario, Trump gets impeached and he won't leave office, and he says that's it, civil war. Because of course he sent that tweet and it said if he gets impeached, it'll create a civil war-like fracture in the country.
Well, I think all of this impeachment nonsense is just a big distraction from Epstein, from Jeffrey Epstein and Lolita Express and Pedo Island. The guy didn't even have a funeral, for crying out loud, So anything to do to distract and place the blame somehow on Trump. And Nancy Pelosi said it herself about how they create the narrative and they get the fake news to pick it up, and the fake news presses it, when media puts it out, and then people believe it and they just eat it up. But Trump hasn't done anything wrong. He's not a guilty person. The Democrats are the ones who are guilty of everything that they accuse Trump of doing, including the FBI. James Comey, who, by the way, if he wanted a bestseller, he should have published Hillary's deleted emails into a book. You've got McCabe, you've got all those guys that are crooked as can be. And Hillary, of course, and her cure-blocking husband, Bill. So, and here you have Trump giving us the right to try and bringing jobs back and trying to protect us and protect our borders, for people to come through the legal way. If they impeach him, that would be just a sin. It would be. I don't think they can get away with that. Trump's too strong.
I know what the other side's going to say, so let me just put it to you so you can rebut it before it happens in the comment section. They would say that the other day Trump was on the helicopter, or getting ready to get on their helicopter, and the gaggle of press, and he asked China and Ukraine.
I watched.
Oh, no, I watched the whole interview. I'm telling you what they would say. Yeah, I'm saying what's going to happen in the comments. I know that's what's going to happen in the comments.
Well, why did China pay? What is it, $100 billion to Biden's son? I would say that. Okay, let's look into that. That's the only thing Trump was asking. He wasn't trying to ask them to look into them to discredit them for his campaign purpose. Trump's got that in the bag.
Let's say 2020 comes, and you get one of these socialists like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, and they beat Trump. What happens to America in that case?
Venezuela. How about Venezuela? That would be a good. We would be Venezuela. Make America Venezuela again.
Oh.
like Nancy Pelosi's territory. It's funny. You're not allowed these straws. Plastic straws aren't allowed in California, but obviously dirty syringes and human feces on the sidewalk is fine in Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood.
So if it would be Venezuela, so you're saying somebody would try to attempt a coup in America, or are you saying it would be because like that is a thing?
Not enough people working to pay the bills. They're not going to pay themselves. You can't just tax people when they're not even making money again. The deflation, the money would be worthless.
Yeah. Also, like a thing that is happening in Venezuela is they have like 130 something sanctions on them, to where their economy basically can't function and can't get a lot of the supplies it needs. President Maduro, he's done some terrible things, but at the same time, 134 sanctions on the country is really hard to get out from under. So it's it's not all black and white thing. Is all I'm saying in that situation. However, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, back to them if they become president. One of the things they're talking about is getting what is it? Oh yes, the wealth tax. Elizabeth Warren's is a 2% wealth tax. Bernie Sanders, I believe, is a 6 or an 8% wealth tax.
Wealthy will just move to another country. Where's she going to get the money then?
Hello, who's going to pay then?
The, there was at one point during the time of the New Deal with the President FDR, they had a top tier 90% tax rate. 90% of everything, and that's how all the highways got built. So like those things have happened before, and that's what resulted in the American middle class. That's where it came from. Was those taxes?
That there she's talking about. No. Yeah. She's not to that same degree. No. No.
That's completely different. You think?
They're pandering to their audience, trying to give them everything they could possibly want just to get the vote, and then they'll probably just give them the shaft like the rest of the old politicians did. Make up reasons why they can't do it. Whereas Trump is actually trying to keep his promises. He's kept a lot of them, except for locking Hillary up.
What's the one thing that Trump has done that you guys are really appreciative of? Like the number one thing that Trump has done thus far?
Build the wall.
I have two equal things. I love right to try, the right to try experimental medicines if you have a terminal disease. And I also love that he's brought back so many jobs to everybody, to all of them.
Yeah, there is an increase in jobs under the current administration. Part of there being more jobs is that a lot of the jobs are very low paying jobs, and then there's a lot of jobs in the gig economy that folks are taking, as well as the there are folks that have dropped out because the unemployment rate itself is a weird number, because if you stop looking for a job after a period of 6 months, you're not even considered a part of the workforce anymore.
There's more jobs now than people who are looking for jobs actually available, and we haven't seen this since like the 1980s, where there's a surplus of jobs, and a lot of them can even come with benefits. So I don't know about low paying, but we've got factories here coming back to America. 70,000 factories, not jobs, but factories left before Trump became president, and he's bringing them back. They're coming back in droves. And other countries are investing in, and the stock market's high. It's up like 53% from when he first took office, 43%. Come on. I mean, what more could he possibly do?
So one of the things you said was build the wall. How do you feel as somebody that lives in a border state, being Arizona? You guys live in a border state, and apparently the wall is something that's important to you. With what's going on at the border right now, how do you feel about what's going on over there?
Well, I think we need the wall. All the trafficking going back and across is it's going to stop that. I mean, I believe in immigrants coming to this country, but they got to do it the right way. They got to do it legally.
A good number of kids that have died in ICE custody, as well as the family separation has gone on. There's been family separated, and then the parent gets deported, and they have no paper trail, so they can't find the parent to these children that are taken in to ICE custody. What do you think about those particular situations? Being that you're somebody that support ICE.
Yeah, it's really tragic, but the parents are definitely at fault. And Homeland Security has become like a nursery, taking care of them all, using their money for diapers and food and everything to take care of all these people in medical care. And they're coming in millions. And Obama's the one that started the cages. And all those pictures you see of were all from the Obama administration. He deported over 3 million people. And that's why they were screaming at Biden about, you deported 3 million. He didn't like that. He was like, cameras, cut away from that, please. Because we don't want to acknowledge anything that Obama ever did. But if Trump deports one person, oh my God, he deported someone. So blame Obama. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and a lot of those kids were ill before they started thing, and the parents, it's on them for doing that, for putting their children in harm's way to do that. I mean, they can apply legally and do it the right way, and then there's no problem with their kids.
He's currently in the midst of a big trade war with China, with the tariffs and whatnot going on.
Somebody needs to stand up to them. They've been getting away with everything for free for years. our farmers couldn't afford to get hay because the ships that they would bring over from China and dropping off the goods, it was cheaper for them to sell it, better for them to sell it to the empty ships going back to China than to the local farmers and stuff. Nobody ever reports about that. Oh, and also Trump also made hemp legal for our farmers instead of having to import the product from all the other countries like Canada, who's the #1 cash crop, because they're all allowed to make all the products and stuff. So finally, Trump gave us the right to grow hemp for our farmers. And when Ron Paul was running, there was a demonstration where the farmers went to the White House to plant hemp seeds, and they all got arrested.
I want to kind of talk about China for just a second, because you said that that there was the issue with China stealing from us. It's actually a fallacy promoted by the media. No, the reason is, no. The economy is like one of my specialties. What happened was, back in the day, we had a deal with China. China wanted American investment, and American companies wanted cheap labor. So the trade-off, you know what I mean? It's called trade. You're not going to get anything unless you get something. So China just let America come in and take advantage of their cheap labor, and they weren't going to let them do that for free. So part of the thing was that they trained them, and there was no regulation. There were no laws written for folks in China and these companies in China to reverse engineer the technology that they were paying people to steal American jobs, basically. Well, yeah, that's what when a company hires folks in China and has like things built in China instead of having them built here, that's somebody's getting that job in China instead of somebody in America getting that job.
Import taxes. They don't have to pay the import taxes, but if for sending things here, but if you try to send something to another country, they charge us out the what. Same thing with visas. You have to pay for visas. You go to Russia, you got to pay like $300 for a visa, and China too. It's hundreds of dollars, but they get to come here for free. Sure, they don't have to pay very much at all, if anything. But the same thing with their merchandise. They would send it all over here, and we wouldn't charge them any taxes or anything, and they just kept sending. Meanwhile, we have nothing else to export. So, how much intellectual property before Obama, before Bush, it's just been going on, and nobody ever stood up to it. I'd like to point out also, like in California, off the coast of California, they've got China drilling oil all over there for years, for decades, but we couldn't drill ourselves.
Is there anything you guys want to leave the American people that are watching with?
Just support Trump. Listen to him. Don't believe everything you hear.
They do like to put a slant on it, and even when they were interviewing with the George Papadopoulos or somebody, they would like pause and they say, well, Trump's being investigated for blah, 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 and make him look real, weird or something. They really distort it. So I say get your news sources everywhere. Look at everything you can. Expand your brain and listen to my Trump songs. Hope you like them.
Thank you guys so much.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.